everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Ball. I am Collie, and this week I'm joined by Paddy. Big Paddy, what's the crack?
Hello, my morning.
And we're joined again, back with the return of Conor. Conor, what's happening?
What's the story, lads? How are we?
Liverpool are shit.
It's great to see. It's great to see.
I will be gone again for a few weeks, Paddy, after tonight. We'll see.
Yeah, we are watching the Liverpool and Ajax game, so if there's any outbursts, that's probably why. Conor, where were you last week? Where was I?
I was at Brian Cox last week, actually.
Oh?
How
was it? You never told me how that was, actually.
I was learning about black holes, and hopefully that was going to get sucked into them.
Oh, Jesus. Black holes.
No, it was really good. I woke up the next morning, I didn't have a fucking clue what you had said the night before, but it was good. It was a 2.5 hour long physics lecture that I used to skip when I was in school, and now decided to pay to go to them.
Yeah.
I can't give us enough knowledge. We need to walk away from this podcast smarter now after this.
Yeah, you need to walk away smarter. What did I learn? That within the center, the closer you get to the black hole, and then once you go across the event horizon, which is the part where you can't return back to where you were in space, there's a mathematical equation that dictates how slow and fast perspective of time goes, and it was only figured out by Stephen Hawking.
There you go.
In the late 70s. He got sucked into a black hole, yeah.
Yeah. He half got sucked in. His legs got sucked in. Right, lads, we're moving off that away from disabled people, and we're going to be going on to some more disabled football teams. Chelsea, lads, we're going to jump into I don't know what we're calling it. It's not news of the week anymore because I don't care. Lads, I'm going to get your thoughts. Paddy, me and you had a little bit of a chinwag while I did about fucking Tuchel after the poor results in the Champions League. And I was saying, I think to quote my words, fuck Thomas Tuchel. And pretty much the next day he was sacked. Do you reckon they listened to the podcast and just said, you know what, Collie's not happy, let's sack him?
Yeah, Bowley was a big fan of the podcast, I heard. And I'd say he was absolutely listening to it. He says, I'm going to make this fucking idiot look like a right tick tomorrow now, and I sack him. And you did. You look like a right fucking tick. Because no, Chelsea aren't a sacking club anymore. No, they're not. They're really not a sacking club anymore. Oh, really? Are they not? All right, you're sacking. But, I have to say, I wonder now, does he kind of sit down and kind of go, what the fuck am I after doing? Why did I sack him?
I don't know.
I still can't understand why they sacked him.
There was an article that I was reading that was put out, I think it was a week before it, and apparently the decision was already made that he was getting sacked, and Bowley didn't like his management style, and apparently there was a massive falling out between the two of them over Cristiano Ronaldo. So Todd Bowley wanted to sign Ronaldo, and Thomas Tuchel flat out said no chance, not having him at the team. And in my opinion, it probably had to be some sort of ultimatum, because that seems like a rash thing. And to me, I think probably Tuchel was right, because that just breeds American signing all over it. That's signing for the jersey sales. That's 100% what that was. That wasn't a signing for the future. And let's be fair, Aubameyang isn't either, but he's another option. But I think fair play to Thomas Tuchel for standing his ground on that one and not just caving in and saying, yeah, come on, let's just fucking sign Ronaldo just to keep you happy.
Just sitting here thinking, do you think other clubs now, top clubs, are kind of thinking to themselves, getting itchy fingers now, kind of going, oh, we'll get rid of this gobshite we have in place now because Tuchel's available?
Well, I know Juventus, Allegri was really struggling at Juventus, and there was massive talks of him getting sacked and then Tuchel going in. Now, Allegri's last game in fucking Juventus, I don't know if you've seen it. There was absolute mayhem.
Oh, yeah, the offside.
They're all sent off, weren't they?
Yeah, they were all got sent off. There was 3 of them sent off, and
but it was never
Allegri
offside.
was in them. No, it wasn't offside. Well,
it was
a hard one. He went for the ball. He was standing in front. Bonucci was standing in front. Was it Bonucci?
No, but Candreva was out at the corner flag, playing them all onside.
And the ref said, I only looked in the box. I only looked in the box, the ref said.
The ref has done the exact same thing I did because I only looked in the box as well. I didn't see someone standing in the corner.
I thought over having a smoke by the fucking corner flag, kind of everybody on side. Like, honest to God.
Way. Yeah. I didn't see that. I'm gonna have to watch that again. No way. That's brilliant. That is. So yeah, got sent off. Allegri got sent off. So there is massive talk about Thomas Tuchel going into Juventus, which I could see happening. To be honest with you, Conor, what did you think of the second when you heard it?
I think you were like Kevin McAllister in Home Alone, where you wish that your parents were gone, and the next morning you woke up with swear, but you didn't actually mean it.
Yeah. But
you're like, oh,
in the end, he's happy. I mean, it works out in the end.
Yeah, but he wasn't happy at that stage. But
lads, just I'm gonna open this can of Rye River. I
should have taken the cans back.
You should have taken them because they're getting devoured. Little Twist Grapefruit IPA. We done a review on this on last week, lads. I don't know what's happening with that video. It's very, very long video, so I'll have to edit the shit out of it. So yeah, Rye River, and I'm gonna take a sip. Will I give it a rating? I think I already gave it a rating.
You kind of already did. Well,
I'm not giving it a rating. No, I'm not giving it a rating. Not giving it a rating because if it's different
this time, so
yeah, it tasted a lot nicer the other time.
Yeah, if you ever see that video, we went through the 7 stages of Paddy in that video. So
yeah.
Up into loads of segments.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So now that lads, I will be getting that video sorted. We did show Conor. You obviously went here last week to be the chase video last week, and it was very funny. So yeah, I'll try get them videos sorted for next week, and then I'll get the beer review. I'll get that one probably put up onto YouTube because it's a 30-minute video, I think. Looking at it. Yeah, so it's yeah. So yeah, Conor, sorry, back to you on the old sacking. What did you think of it?
Yeah, it was just mad. Like, obviously not a great start to the season, but definitely not one worthy of getting the boo.
Not as bad as Liverpool.
They're below Liverpool in the league already. No, yeah,
this is gonna be the whole thing.
I know, yeah. And if it was coming, like, don't let him spend all the money that he did.
That's the thing.
I know he wants to go down the road. He's obviously read a book somewhere, and he's like, I want a director of football who makes all the decisions, and then a head coach, not a manager.
For the record, Chelsea are 6th and Liverpool 7th.
Outside of Germany, that model hasn't really worked before. So I can't see it really being a thing where you get a good manager in. Is Graham Potter going to sit there and just coach players as opposed to have no say over the club? He might just be a yes man. Like he might be. We don't know because he's not been in that position before. But I don't think he's not going to be able to replicate the success he had at Brighton by being a yes man because that's not what he was there. So it's a strange one. Obviously, that's why they went so far down the table, I suppose, to look for a manager because they knew they were going to get someone who would do what they said. Obviously, Poch was probably mentioned and bounced around as well. There's no way he's coming to do that again. He's already might as well be one at PSG, and he doesn't really like it, so he wasn't going to come in and do that again. So
speaking of PSG, speaking of PSG, that's actually who they were going to sign as the director of football. Was the lad, I can't remember his name, but he's the director of football at PSG, and I think he was at Sevilla and could be Sevilla and Porto maybe. Anyway, two teams that done pretty well. So that's what they were basing it off. His kind of experience in doing it. It was, to be honest with you, it sounds like a whole fucking Ralph Rangnick thing again, where he done it at one club and I don't know, did he get credit for stuff that didn't even happen? And he wasn't even the responsible person for it. I don't know. But yeah, it's such. I woke up. I actually thought it was a wind up. Someone texted me on Instagram, and I looked at the phone, and I was like, someone said to me, "Tuchel under pressure now." It was actually on the podcast. Someone said Tuchel under pressure, and I was like, "No." So I think I posted it up on Instagram, and then literally about 10 minutes later, I got a message. Didn't last long or something, and I looked at it, and I was like, "What the fuck's that on about?" And then I got a text. I think it was from my brother, and he goes, "Tuchel sacked." I was like, "Oh, that can't like." There's no way the two of them were after like scheming together, like because like I'm a person now that believes nothing that anybody says to me because I created that.
Whose fault is that?
I know, yeah, no. I was talking that we and Chris were playing the Xbox last night, and I said something to him, and he didn't believe me, and it was 100% true. And I was like, look, I've created this reputation, and I'm gonna just own it. Yeah,
So you live in it.
It's on me. Yeah, it's on me. That's me now. That's no one's gonna believe me. I'm not gonna believe anybody. But yeah, I thought it was a fucking wind up. I couldn't believe it, and yeah, I was absolutely shocked by it. The appointment of Graham Potter, I just don't know what to make. But I seen him his interview. He had a good interview with Chelsea, like Chelsea TV. Look, I don't know. I don't really know what to make. He's done a really good job at Brighton, but he's never really been in the position of managing these type of players with these type of egos and at that level. So it's hard for me to go, he's going to be brilliant. He's going to do everything that fucking he's doing at Brighton because he's got better players. I don't know whether that's going to happen or not.
I'd be more worried around if the manager doesn't have that say, and that's the reason why Tuchel has got sacked. What's these marquee signings that are, as you said, just for jersey sales? You have a 40-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo joining because he'll sell loads of Chelsea jerseys.
Yeah.
Or whoever else. You have Lewandowski in 3 years' time joining because it's a good name to have.
Yeah.
It's obviously not the best way forward for the club on a longer basis, or for Chelsea to get back to where they probably want to be, which was Chelsea 10 years ago.
Yeah. And then the other thing then is there's talk of this like education that he has where he has a master's in managing football. Like I didn't even know that was a fucking thing. Like what is that? Like
a master's in behavioral therapy or something like that. It's
about
psychology or something like that. I was listening to him in an interview.
It's so strange. I had no idea it was anything related to football.
Yeah, he's a good cook.
Smart man.
Yeah, so look, lads, I don't know. There's not much else really to talk about. Just for anyone that is listening or watching or anything like that, this podcast, we're not going to really drag it out because there's no point just because we're watching the Liverpool match. We're not dragging it. We're not watching the game and live reacting. So, anything longer than a minute for Paddy that's not related to United is dragging out. Like,
he's already wondering. Did you see him? He's like,
God. Look, I was gonna zoom in. I was gonna just go like that into the single camera because if we're not talking about United, Paddy is away with the fairies.
I'm not. I got a new phone and I'm logging into all the social media shit.
Oh yeah, we got all the ridiculous fucking text messages and emojis.
Like that with a new phone.
I thought his kid was after getting a hold of the phone because we're getting all these random messages that mean nothing, and he's like, haha, I called you an idiot in Dutch. I'm like, okay. I was like, I had no idea. You have to explain it.
Translate rocks.
That's fucking ridiculous. Paddy, we're going to jump on to something that might make you a little bit more happy. The Queen's Day. I know. Liverpool struggling. So, Paddy, what I want to ask you before we jump to Conor, who is the Liverpool fan, Jurgen Klopp, how many games more does it take for him to actually start becoming under pressure to lose his job? Or do you think he already is?
At Christmas time, they're in this, like, it doesn't look like they're going to make top four by the end of the season. I think something will have to be done. And going by to be honest, I can't see him going before the end of the season. I think around Christmas time, they'll still be there or abouts for top four. So they'll give them till the end of the season. Even the owners, I don't think there's that much pressure on them to win the league, to be quite honest with you. I think Liverpool owners just want to get Champions League football. That's all they want. They don't give a shit about winning the league, really. I
don't know. Like you're at a team there that's been challenging for the last 2 or 3 years and won it 2 years ago. How can you all of a sudden? I know they lost Mane. It was a massive loss. How can they all of a sudden just go, okay, we'll accept not winning the league now? Like, is that just a sad realization that Mane was just a much bigger loss than they anticipated? Like,
absolutely, yeah. But that again, it's that poor management, because how can you not realize when one of your best players is gone, like how much of an impact it's going to have on the team? Like, even if you buy Darwin Núñez, like even that, looking at that midfield and how tired they look. I know they've a lot of like a few injuries and stuff, but it's still a very old midfield in terms of the. Whoa. Sorry.
But one thing, sorry, just jump in there, because you're kind of saying about like Mane being one of the main reasons as well, and Klopp not being under pressure. But when you think about it, right, the last couple of games, like Virgil van Dijk has looked a little bit ropey, Trent Alexander-Arnold has looked a little bit ropey. So now all of a sudden there's these cracks shown in other parts of the team, not just attacking. Like when you look at their attacking, you still have Salah, you still have Diaz, Firmino in the last game. looked fucking lethal. So like we're starting to see cracks in other areas where they weren't necessarily having the cracks before. Like Trent seems to be struggling big time this year. So like, is it like, I know it's probably a stupid thing to say, but is he starting to kind of lose the dressing room, or are the players getting bored of a certain system or a style or something?
Is it not that the defense is just under a lot more pressure this season than they have been in previous seasons because the attack has been so good and their press has been so good? So maybe it's their press just isn't as good as it has been in previous seasons, and now the pressure is really on them, and they're letting in a few goals, but the strikers aren't doing the job they're supposed to be to counteract that. There has been some glaringly obvious mistakes, all right, and Trent, I think we're seeing now defensively is not good enough for a championship winning team defensively.
And would you say that has shown that they're not as good players as you would have thought initially, or do you think that it's just that the team aren't just doing as well?
Virgil van Dijk, he's a good defender, but for to be put in the class of Vidic, Terry, all them, like he's done nothing in the league to really company. Even, he's once
with an asterisk.
Once, yeah,
with an asterisk.
Yeah. There's a goal.
Oh, Mo Salah. See, just as we talk about them, like poor defensively, they score. That's why that just
We've got 3 goals to catch up on from last week. Come on.
that just like proves my point there that going forward, they're still a massive threat, and they should be still winning all these games. But defensively, we're starting to see cracks. Can I come to you, because obviously they just have to score on there? What is your initial thought? We haven't heard you talk about Liverpool in the last 3 or 4 weeks because obviously you've been away. But they have really been struggling over the last...
next week, the week after, the week after that.
Depending on what it's like at the end of this game, we might not see you next week. So we'll get your opinion while we have you. So what's your thoughts on Liverpool over the last kind of couple of weeks?
I think Paddy's spot on. Is the defense been good enough now? But are they able to play the same style of football they've played for the last 3 seasons? They're not either. They haven't got the press, and it seems like that Mane was the trigger for the press. And it does seem like he was the one who went, and then everyone else followed in. Midfield push up, defense pushed up, and that was the shape they were in. They never let. And again, I'm going back to, I think it was Jamie Carragher said it at the Napoli game last week, and he was spot on, was that Liverpool never let midfielders get their head up to pick a pass past the 2 centre halves. Now, they showed it for 2 of Napoli's goals. Midfielders were able to get their head up, play a pass past the back 4, and then they're in that awkward position of, do we play that? Do we step up like we have done for 3 years and we're really successful with it, or do we track the runners? They got caught in 2 minds. So it is going to be, and that comes down to management, that comes down to the coaching side of things as well, to realise that if we're not getting the same level of press higher up the pitch, we have to start tracking runners instead of trying to step up, because midfielders are too good to pick out that ball in that gap between the goalkeeper, who's a pretty good sweeper at the same time.
Yeah.
But when you're playing on the halfway line, there's 40 yards from the cover.
Yeah.
So yeah, does it come from losing Mane 100%? If he's your trigger man for the press and you don't have someone to fill that role. Here's a goal.
The cross.
Offside, I think.
They looked offside.
Who comes in and fills that gap? It doesn't look like Salah wants to lead from the front. It doesn't look like Diaz does look like he will, but it doesn't seem like anyone's going with him. Midfield is a big concern because, as Paddy mentioned, the couple of injuries that were in there, but also I mentioned last year, I mentioned during the summer, I've mentioned for the last year and a half now that Liverpool need to improve in midfield anyway. They haven't done it. There's Fabrizio came out today and said that Liverpool made 210 million worth of bids for midfielders over the summer that were all rejected or turned down.
That's strange. Why would that be?
Tchouaméni was the one who went to Real Madrid, and they put in an 85 million bid for Valverde from Real Madrid, which was turned down because they had just accepted the bid for Casemiro to go to United. And there was one other player that was unnamed that were all turned down for one reason or another.
Why are Liverpool so different in the transfer market, where when they're signing somebody, it seems to just get done like that, and there's never this kind of dragged out bid after bid after bid, like, and then you seem to, like, when you don't get a player, that's it, it's gone, like, you know what I mean? There's no like follow up, and there's no there's no negotiations. It's just like that's the bid and that's it. Like that's what I seem to see from Liverpool in the market.
I think as well, I know we mentioned around the owners. The owners are now the majority shareholders of AC Milan. So were their minds elsewhere all summer?
Yeah,
probably. And I do agree with Paddy. Do they want to win the league? Yes, they do. But have they seen, like, Liverpool is one of their only business assets, whatever you want to call them, that's in the positive year after year since they took over. So for the last years, they have been making a profit, apart from 1 year for COVID.
Yeah.
So can they just leave it there, like set it and forget it, let it run, and they'll still make quids off it, whether they finished in the top four, whether they finished first or fourth, they're still making money off of it. Kind of looks that way a little bit. But yeah, style of play needs to change. I would like to see some players getting dropped for that reason. Trent is one I would like to see dropped, especially with the new lad Calvin Ramsey coming into the squad. He's been out injured, but he's due back in the next couple of weeks. He plays left full, right full, plays a little bit anywhere. Played in the Scottish League. He's not going to be Premier League winning standard by any means, but if it means it gives someone else a shake-up who, like Trent, who's 22, 23, who needs to kick up the hole to say, you're not doing your job, well then happy days.
How do you say you're just going to jump in there on something?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you about Salah this season, and I know he scored just there today, but there's been a definite drop in his performances. Is that down to Mane going, or do you think it's down to him getting a new contract and just maybe
doing on the
gas a little bit?
That was a goal.
Fucking hell.
Liverpool don't have as much of the ball as they had before, and I don't know if it's that input to output where Salah scores a goal because Liverpool have 85% of possession and he scores that one goal, and that's the reason why. So when Liverpool only have 50% or 45 or 40, do you get less out of him? He's never been one to control the game. He's never been a workhorse, but he never controlled the game from start to finish. He pops up with bits of magic, and we know he has a bit of a temperament about himself where if something doesn't go right, he generally falls out of a game. He kind of, the light goes off a little bit. So I think he's seeing more of that. I also think he probably doesn't have a settled front three like he did for a couple of years with Firmino in and out, Núñez in and out, Jota in and out, Diaz in and out, and obviously losing Mane. So there's loads of excuses why, but the team aren't playing good enough. The individuals aren't playing good enough at the same time as well. So there's a whole host of things, but they're not running as much. They're running less. I think the team is running 4 kilometers less on average than they were previous seasons.
Jesus.
They have less ball, so they should be probably running more. So
that's mad figures, actually, stats there.
I don't know what the reason is, and I don't know what the remedy for it is, but I'm not on the training ground. But I reckon if you're not getting that same level of running, you're not getting the same level of press, which means you have to play deeper. We can't keep playing line on the halfway line.
Okay, let's look at hypothetically, because we haven't got to speak to you the last couple of weeks when Liverpool haven't been doing great. But as a Liverpool supporter, you get Champions League this year, but it's just like he's turned into this Champions League churning club now, where he's aren't really winning cups. He's just got Champions League. Would you be happy keeping Klopp, or would you like to see a change, a bit more ambition? Do you think Klopp is the problem? The team is the problem? Where do you see the issue now for Liverpool, and how long would you give before there would be a change?
There's definitely a transition going on, and I get, like we mentioned, like those good sides, you only get probably 3 or 4 years out of them, and then you have to change. It doesn't look like they're in a great position of making that change at the moment. As I said, there's a little bit of young blood. Harvey Elliott has played well. Again, I don't think he's up to scratch at the moment. But Salah into his 30s, obviously a new contract good. Firmino into his 30s. Van Dijk into his 30s. Henderson into his 30s. Where is that 24-year-old? Like, so Anthony, right? Grant, he hit the ground running initially. You might not get the best out of him for a year, but you know he's going to come good. You have Darwin Núñez, fine. He's 22. I still think he has a touch like a greyhound. But he is one of those players who will mature as it goes on. There's nobody else really. There's not there's not a Fabinho replacement or a James Milner replacement. James Milner like 5 or 6 years ago, not James Milner.
Why aren't you annoyed? I want to see you frothing at the mouth right now.
So see the way you're talking there about like they're not being a Fabinho replacement or a Milner replacement. Like we're talking so much about. I always go back to Trent Alexander-Arnold, and every single Liverpool says, "Oh, his range of passing is unbelievable. Should be playing in midfield." Why not move him to midfield? Take him out of that defensive scenario, and then move that new lad Ramsey into right back, and breed him in and let him play beside the likes of Van Dijk and Gomez or Matip, whoever the fuck is there beside him. Why not make that move? Is Klopp afraid to make that move with Trent and bring him in as a centre midfielder now?
Well, Ramsey's still out injured, so that's point one. He hasn't played a game for Liverpool. He hasn't played a minute of football.
It's 1-1.
Finish, that is.
Come on.
Finish. Conde, is it? It's not
No.
Conde. It's so close. Like, I mean, I'm not wearing my glasses. Give me a break. Who was that? What a finish that was.
Some striker.
Klopp out.
Oh, Van Dijk's fault. It was Van Dijk's fault.
Klopp out. Van Dijk struggling.
I mean, it came down the right hand side, Collie, just as you mentioned him as well. So.
Yeah, you know,
he's like Beetlejuice. Say his name 3 times, he makes a mistake.
Let me see what he's doing here. Very narrow. Hold on a second. Now we have a bit of width. Ran straight in behind. Like, why is he taking that step up? That's really bad. Van Dijk doing the same thing again, where he stands off the defender or the striker.
All right.
Surely has to make a step out. Surely there has to be a step out there. Like, now the player in fairness does get in his way. He's got to do more there.
What though?
Some finish. I mean, whatever he does there, he's probably not blocking that, but he has to step out there and try to do more.
No, he does. But again, you're looking at Trent getting stuck to the ball in behind, and then Matip has to go, and they're all shifted across. One left, 2 in the centre. So
perfect time to talk about it. Why are we not seeing Trent going in there?
Well, there's no one else to play right full straight off the bat. But what I have seen and what I would like to see, and I don't think he'll do it because he's never done it before, and you rely on having 3 fit centre halves, which you haven't had all season. But if you do get 3 fit centre halves, to play that 3 at the back, play them almost as wing backs and have the cover. Obviously, you're looking at Kanate being back fit, and now Matip is only just back in now since last week. But I would like to see and let Robertson and Trent have that free role while still having cover. Having Fabinho sit, which means he can drop in. You still have a flat 4 if you need to, and let them have that free roam, because it is the out ball at the moment for teams. You can get in around the back of Liverpool's right hand side, especially when you have that time in midfield to play passes forward.
To be fair, that might suit Van Dijk a little bit better as well, because like I see him as a defender. Paddy, is that you doing that? Is it?
Doing what?
He's playing with his new phone. He's putting new ringtones on.
I do see him being like this type of defender where he almost, I don't know. It's just, to me, it just looks like he thinks he's better than everyone else and doesn't have to sprint. You rarely see him sprint for a ball. So that, to me, that might be a better option for him, where he's sitting in the center of one either side of him, and he's able to just kind of sweep up the 2 rather than having to fucking make sprints over and cover a lot more. Like, so I think that it might suit him, but then again, it could horrendously go the other way, where he has to make up that ground either side and get across a bit more. Because you have to, like, if you have something
anyway, because if your fullbacks are still playing as wingers, which they are at the moment, except for I'm a big fan of bringing in Tsimikas. They brought him in today again because I do think Robertson needs rotating in and out because he hasn't been up to standard. And if they had that quality in reserve on the right hand side, I'm sure the same thing would happen with Trent. He's blessed by the fact that there is no quality on the right hand side to replace him with. You replace him with James Milner. You know, that's who your next best is. Yeah.
So I know we're saying, sorry, it's just going back to the same question. I know we're saying that there's no cover for him at the moment, but do you still think that Klopp would be very hesitant moving Trent into the midfield? Do you think he'd do it? Like,
I don't see
just something that Liverpool fans want.
I don't see why he wouldn't. The only thing that would go against it would be Klopp has always played like a 4-3-3 or some version of it, 4-3-2-1, whatever you want to call it. So he's never played with a wide midfielder. He's always played with wingers. So if you want to play Trent as that right winger, are you going to move Mo Salah, who's been one of the most influential players in Liverpool over the last, say, 5 years, to somewhere else? He's not played through the centre the same way Mane has played through the centre and got success. Do you try it and see? Maybe. Are you better off playing Jota instead or Nunez? Probably. It's I think it would take a full reshuffle. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that, like maybe after the World Cup, when he has a little bit of time back with the team, or a few players who don't travel, they can sort it out and try to do something.
Oh, what on effort that is, Trent.
It's not something that I can see happening during the middle of the season, regardless of what way things are on. To be honest, it's
probably too big of a change. Probably need to work on that pre-season or something like that. Paddy, have you anything else you want to ask Conor about Liverpool, or we're going to move on?
No, I was trying to think of something to make him cry, but I can't think of that.
Let me get a few more 12s into me, and then I'll fucking tell you what I think.
All right, lads, hold on a second. I can't believe I stopped that. I clicked the right one. I thought I was clicking the wrong one. I stopped it. Lads, the Queen's dead.
What?
She's dead.
Freddie Mercury again?
Now look, the Queen has died, lads. Let's be honest with you, I don't really care, but
that's not what your Instagram post said, you fucking two-faced bastard.
Look, there's a lot of English followers on the page. I'll show me respect, so I won't say anything disrespectful or anything like that. I don't care, to be honest, but it doesn't affect me. But I can't say
a little bit disrespectful now.
No, like it doesn't affect me in my life, so I don't really give a shit. But I do like acknowledge the fact that it was a piece. She's a piece of history. Do you know what I mean? Like she's the longest reigning monarch ever. So
I didn't know what I was going to say either.
No, so look, I got a few messages saying, "What the fuck you like posting that shit for?" Like, well, look, I don't care. I'll be respectful to everyone. I explained to everybody that we do have a lot of English followers, so I'll be respectful to everybody. So, the one thing that she has fucked us over on is the fucking fixtures getting cancelled. Lads, what are we thinking? Paddy, what's your thoughts on fixtures getting cancelled? All of them last week and the majority of them this week, especially Chelsea and Liverpool.
I was disappointed last weekend, but I was like, okay, well, I understand as a mark of respect, fair enough. But even, I think Peter Crouch put out a good tweet there saying, would it not be better to have a minute of applause, everyone wearing black armbands, playing God Save the Queen at every stadium, you know, as a mark of respect? Would that not be a better showing than just shutting everything down? Last weekend, understood. This weekend, crock of shit, because they haven't got enough police to fucking
it's harsh.
man the games.
It is United against Leeds, though, so they usually bring in police from abroad. Just to
there is usually extra police there for that one. Like,
even play behind closed doors then or something. Fucking Jesus, I can't
do that. But Conor, you are going through the list of the games that were cancelled, and it made no sense because who did we say is still playing?
Yeah, so Brighton and so obviously United and Leeds is off because they're both scummers and they need loads of police. Chelsea, Liverpool is off because Liverpool are scummers, plus it's in London.
Yeah, that's acceptable.
Brighton against Palace is off. It's being played in Brighton. Now I know Brighton is close to London. It's only like an hour away. So maybe because they're drafting into London.
Probably.
Brentford Arsenal is on. Brentford is in London.
Yeah.
That's on Sunday afternoon. That's a London derby. It's obviously not much of a derby, but it still is two London sides. And that's going ahead, which is weird.
Doesn't make sense.
They're obviously not expecting any trouble at that. But
it's just so mad. It's just absolutely, it's ridiculous. Like, I could understand it last week. I think the whole thing
about Brighton and Palace. I don't know. That's why I'm confused. Like, is that a hot fixture for the limbs? Like, or what's the story?
No, you have to draft in our English followers there and ask them that one. The one thing that Paddy, you were saying there about them was a Peter Crouch or something that said, why not do that? Apparently, there was a massive thing that they didn't think that people would respect the moment silence and stuff, as we saw in well, look, it wasn't a moment silence, but the Shamrock Rovers games with all the Rovers fans shouting "Lizzie's in a box." There was obviously some sort of fear that.
Hang on, I just want to cut in here. That goalkeeper is about 400 years of age.
He looks like Jimmy Bullard. He looks like Jimmy Bullard, doesn't he, with the grey hair, the long grey hair? What the fuck?
He's about 80.
Fair play to him. Anyway, Rovers fans singing Lizzie's in a Box. Apparently, it's gone worldwide, and people have seen it in England as well, and we're outraged by it. Then we saw a video of, I think it was the Cork City fans then singing it as well. So yeah, if you give Irish people an inch, they'll take a mile with that type of stuff. Like so, in my opinion, this week definitely fixtures shouldn't have been. I can understand it's one of the highest profiled funerals we're ever going to see in our lifetime, probably. But
your one will be bigger, Collie. Don't worry.
No, I know it will. All the followers of the page will be all showing up. You know, like everybody will just. I don't know how the country will even function when I die.
All the viewers of the page will show up. It'll be just your dad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he's going to be busy next year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, look, lads, I don't know what else to kind of add to it. Conor, what do you think of the cancellation part of it?
It's just like obviously they'll have enough police, right? I kind of get it. Does she need to be doing stuff at the weekend? Can you not just do stuff with her during the week? Like
no.
She's not. If it was the funeral was on the Saturday or Sunday, fair enough. The funeral itself is going to be a big event where anything could happen during it. That's not till Monday. Why did they want on the Friday or the Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like pre-drinks or something. It's like they're having pre-drinks for the Queen's funeral. Like, what's all that about?
And again, if the Chelsea game being called off, Chelsea-Liverpool being called off, it's in London. Like, surely they can rustle up enough coppers together for United, Leeds, whatever.
Yeah.
3.5, 4 hours away. Do you know?
I mean, there's loads of them.
I just don't comprehend that. Games in London, right? Maybe, but like that's bizarre.
But like the games in London, if you're gonna be consistent, be consistent and call off Brentford and Arsenal as well. Well, like how is that one going ahead? It just doesn't make any sense the way they're doing it. I'd love to see their little their little map on like fucking the structure of why certain games are being called off and why certain games aren't being called off. So
we know how tight this year is with the World Cup.
Yeah,
like already, we are going to get these games are going to get added back in somewhere. I can already picture Jurgen Klopp complaining about the number of games. I can see it already happening at Christmas time. Like this is going to make it worse. He's literally going to be blaming the Queen dying because of it. That way.
Another classic Klopp excuse: the Queen's death. added to the list.
Added to the pitch was very dry. It's up there.
Yeah, I love it. Lads, I don't know. Is there anything else we need to cover on the Queen dying other than nothing? I don't know.
Even the golf lost today.
Yeah.
Shane Lowry won that, but as we talked about Liverpool winning the league with Kova and they're an asterisk. He won the BMW Championship with an asterisk because he only played 54 holes.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't count. I know. We know Shane's a big fan of the page here, so Shane, I love him. Right, lads, we're going to move off the Queen dying because that's slightly depressing. Lads, we're going to we're at something we haven't really looked at this season, and it's not actually our own teams this week because all the games are off. So we're going to look at the Premier League predictions. Jesus Christ. I fucking clicked end broadcast there by mistake. Right, lads. What we're going to do...
Paddy, relax.
It wouldn't be the first time I've done that. Lads, we're gonna look at the rest of the fixtures for the week. We're just gonna get score predictions on them. There's one or two little topics that we might just talk about when we come up against them. So lads, starting off Aston Villa and Southampton. Paddy, give us your score prediction on this one. And actually, is Gerrard under pressure to be sacked? Or do you reckon?
Massive pressure, I'd say now at this stage, yeah. Between himself or your man off Leicester. What's his name?
Brendan Rodgers.
Him, yeah.
You're on a football podcast, Paddy. Come on, you know that.
Yeah, I didn't prepare for this. We had a vote for this before we started. Will we do this? And me and Conor was like, no, and you're like, well, we're doing it anyway.
I just said
we're doing it. Still know Brendan Rodgers is the manager of the fucking Leicester, though.
Yeah, come on. You're better than that, Paddy.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of emojis though.
Right, give us some score predictions then.
I'm gonna go for a big dirty 0-0 because Southampton haven't been doing too bad and Villa need a result. So yeah, I think they'll just cancel this shit around.
All right, Conor, what do you reckon?
I think the draw against City has bought Gerrard a couple of weeks. So regardless of what happens, I think that is a big enough result just to carry him a little bit.
Yeah.
I did have him next out of the door, but in the space of 3 days, he drew against City and Tuchel got sacked. So, like, fucking who knows what's going to happen. But, yeah, I agree with Paddy on the draw. I think it's going to be 1-1 is what I'm going to go with. He's played well so far. He's been talk of a lot of transfer controversy, so I'm going to go with Douglas Luiz to score.
Yeah, he doesn't. That was a weird one. I've heard. I see a lot of videos on TikTok, and like someone done like the most overrated players in the Premier League, and he was one of them. And he was like he couldn't believe that like a chance for him to go to Arsenal was even happening, and it was refused. So it was I can see that. I think I actually do agree with you. I think 1-1 myself, and I think I'm gonna go with Ollie Watkins to score, because big Ollie up front needs a volley. Right, we're gonna move on. Next one is Forest and Fulham, lads. A great game, 2 promoted teams. Conor, what you reckon?
Straight in 2-1 Fulham. Big boy up front again, gonna score. Big Alexander Mitrovic.
Nice. And Paddy?
I'm going to go for a Forest win, 1-0, and Jay Lings to score.
Interesting.
I was going to do that, but I didn't know what it was. That one? Oh, yeah,
okay. Stephen Hawkins.
Oh,
here's a goal. Oh, good save.
70-year-old saved just hit that.
Lads, I have to disagree with Boches. I don't know what score Paddy said.
I said Forest win.
Okay, I'm going 1-0. One of us is going to be right. I'm going to go with Mitrovic to score as well because he's been quality. I think I need to get him into the fucking fancy football, lads. I know he's only playing for Fulham, but he's still scoring goals, which is outrageous.
They have an awkward
Maybe we should do this every week.
What?
One of us say one team wins, one of us says the other team wins, and one says a draw. And then at least every week someone's going to be right and we can clip it.
And then we can just clip them all together.
Yeah.
Why have we not thought of this?
Wow.
That's going to happen next week. Right, lads, Wolves and Man City. Lads, we haven't really talked about Man City this season. We have to talk about how good Haaland is. There was a video I put up on TikTok, and it was Nunes being absolutely shy in training, and we were all like, it's grand, just now warm-up. Like, got like 250,000 views, and I got abuse on that fucking post. And then I said, right, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll clip it to the top of the page and we'll talk about it in a couple of weeks or whatever at the end of the season. People were saying that he was going to score more goals. More goals than Haaland. Haaland is absolutely tearing it up. I can't believe some people were even questioning him. Conor, did you have any doubts of Haaland and how many goals he was going to score? Did you think he was going to be scoring as many as he has?
I didn't think he would be as prolific. I said that he would get between 20 and 30, but I didn't think he was going to be
nearly.
He still doesn't suit City. He still makes runs. He gets upset when he doesn't get the ball because he runs the channel, and Pep's teams don't play into the channel. So it's still bizarre, and you wonder how many goals he would get if City just started trying to turn teams a little bit more, put the ball in behind.
De Bruyne seems to be looking for that though a little bit more than usual.
De Bruyne's trying to play those diagonals in between the fullback and the centre half now that he never would have before. So they are maybe adapting to him, but I know he had the thing about Phil Foden. I don't know if you saw that where he did the post-match interview. Was it Phil Foden? And he goes, Phil Foden,
the ball. It's Phil Foden.
Yeah, because obviously he doesn't think he's getting enough of it. Most of his goals coming within 6 yards. That's what he does. He's just there. He's always there.
He's in the right spot, isn't he?
That's what you want from a goal scorer. You don't want him to score 70-yard volleys. You want him just there poking the ball home. So now I'm very impressed with him. Again, are they getting everything they can out of him? I don't know, but they're getting enough out of him to be challenging anyway. So who cares?
Yeah, it is scary. Paddy, what do you think of Haaland? What do you make of him?
What could have been, huh?
I know, yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, well, an absolute machine. I think he's going to score the most goals ever in the Premier League history, probably Champions League history. He's a different beast. He really is.
Do you think that's like, is it down to the team that he's in? Like, because like you look at the likes of, say, Ronaldo and the teams that he was in, they were good. But like, is this Man City team better than that? Let's say that Barcelona team where Samuel Eto'o was in it up top, or where fucking Ibrahimovic was in it with Xavi and Iniesta. Like, how was he able to score so much more than they were?
He's a poacher. That's all he is. He's a poacher.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ronaldo played out wide a lot of the time as well. He scored a lot of individual goals. Haaland gets 3 chances, score 3 goals. That's all he does. He just puts the ball in the net for fun. And that's the extent of him. I don't think you can rely on Haaland to do some of the things that Ronaldo would have been a leader in the dressing room, demands more out of people.
I'd be surprised. Yeah. I think you'd be surprised by him. Like,
he just looks like, to me, as a fella who has a job. He just does his job, and his job is to put the ball in the net as many times as he can, and he's not bad at it. You know,
he's not bad.
I'd say he eats and breathes being a striker. I'd say he pushes the whole team to feed him the ball. I'd say he's one who's got to be. He has the same mentality as Ronaldo. I can see.
He's not getting the ball, Paddy, which means he doesn't get upset about it. Which means I don't think he has that same. He laughs it off like.
Still young.
I know he's still young and he could develop into that. But what I've said is that he doesn't have that now, and that's the reason. All he does is put the ball in the net. He doesn't throw strops. He doesn't.
You get more annoyed about Haaland than you are about Liverpool, for fuck's sake. You know?
That's because you're not playing with your ringtones now. You're actually talking.
So, Paddy, I think no. Look, we're not going to drag out the pod. We're gonna
get to an hour here, Paddy. Will you?
Yeah. We're gonna get score predictions. Let's move it along. So, Paddy, give us a score prediction.
3-1 to City, and Diego Costa to score first.
Oh, what a signing, by the way. Sorry, I forgot about that. What? I'm so delighted that he's back in the Premier League. I cannot wait to see him fighting with everybody every week and poking people's eyes out now. It's going to be class. Conor, what's your score predictions?
4-0 City, Haaland.
You don't think fucking Diego Costa's going to score?
I think he's going to play.
He's only 5.5 in the fancy football, lads, just so you all know. He's only 5.5 million, and Jimenez is injured. So
I don't think he's played a game in about 6 months, though, has he?
He hasn't played since 2021. He was with fucking Atletico Mineiro or whatever the fuck they're called.
So he's going to come in and start against City.
No, look, you never know. Yeah, I'm going to say 3-1 to Man City, and I'm going to say Haaland to score. Just the obvious one. Right, lads, Newcastle and Bournemouth. Conor, score prediction?
3-0 Newcastle, and I don't think Maximan is back fit, so I'm going to go with Callum Wilson.
Sorry, just comment in there. Is that Conor fella on drugs?
We need a one end.
The one end. Paddy, score prediction?
2-0 to Newcastle. Trippier to score.
Yeah, I think it'll be a tire game. I think it'll be 2-1 to Newcastle. And is Callum Wilson back?
I think he was due back for last week. The games were called off, so I presume he's fit.
I'll stick with him to score. Right, we'll move on to the next one, lads. Spurs and Leicester. Spurs obviously having an embarrassing 2-0 defeat today. Lasted all the way up till the 90th minute and then conceded 2 in the last 3 minutes or something. So I'm delighted for them. Paddy, what do you think of this one?
3-0 Spurs. Harry Kane to score.
Okay, Conor?
2-1 Spurs. Pierre Højbjerg to score.
I'm going to say 2-0 to Spurs, and I'm going to go with Son. I'm going to go with Son to break the old goal scoring duct and to get a goal. Brentford and Arsenal, lads. Here we go.
London derby.
The Queen's match. Conor, what do you think?
2-1 Arsenal. Martinelli.
Okay. Paddy?
I'm going to say 2-2. It's the Arsenal dropping points again. And Jesus to score.
I was actually going to go with a draw as well, but I will stick with Arsenal. I'll go 2-1 to Arsenal, and I'm going to say Jesus to score. Everton and West Ham, lads. This is the last one, and then we're wrapping it up. So, Paddy?
0-0.
Oh. Conor?
1-0 Scamacci to score.
I'm going to say 2-1 to Everton.
2-0. 2-1.
No, I was going to. Swear to God, I was going to. I'm going to go 2-1 to Everton. I think a corner may have been turned, and Frank Lampard's going to start getting results. Oh, just jinx them. And who am I going to go with to score? Who's the fucking strikers? Calvert-Lewin's still out, is he? Is Calvert-Lewin still out?
Yeah, Jordan Pickford's out as well.
Oh!
Just so you know, he's out until November, I think. But,
I don't know. I know I'm going with Kurt Zouma. That's what I'm going. I can't think of anybody else. Patterson, actually. We got Patterson score. Right, lads, we're wrapping it up. I'm not dragging it out. It's half time of the match. We can go and enjoy the second half of the match. Hopefully Liverpool get beaten. Why?
I won't enjoy the second half of the match. I mean.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Hopefully Liverpool get beaten and we can put another Klopp out poll up and people will get pissed off at me again, which is very funny. I always like that. Lads, we'll be back next week, Tuesday. Hopefully we'll have some fucking football to talk about. We're not talking about some bullshit news. Lads, it's been a pleasure. Connor, it's nice been having you back. We just started 2 sentences, didn't finish either of them there. So thanks for coming back this week.
Yeah, nice one.
Big Paddy, nice one.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry about playing with my phone. I'll have it all sorted by next week.
Right, we'll be back next Tuesday, 8 p.m, same time, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit follow, like, comment, all that good shit, and we'll talk to everybody next week.